Hello everyone, and welcome to this webinar on the Work Tracker tool inside of the Greatech Advanced PowerPack for Autodesk Revit. And for those of you that don't know who I am, my name's Simon Dickinson. I'm the BIM Technical Manager for Greatech in the UK. I've been with Greatech now for 19 years. I've been an advocate of BIM for longer than that now. I'm an Autodesk certified professional and an Autodesk certified instructor. If you do have any questions that you want to ask offline, feel free to drop me an email at simon.dickinson@greatech.com. There will be a chance if you do have any questions at the end of this webinar, you will be able to ask them. Also, feel free to follow me on LinkedIn at sdickinson1. For those of you that don't know who Greatech are, we have been around for 30 plus years. Our head offices are in Paris. We currently operate in 11 countries worldwide and have over 48 offices. We've been growing rapidly in the past 4 years, and that growth continues to go to continue. We are now one of the largest Autodesk partners in the world. We've got quite a few staff. There's over 550 of us now. Mainly technical. We've got 100 of them work at our R&D centre in Romania, where we develop our own products, including the PowerPack for Revit. And we've got over 200 consultants like myself that are based focused on customer delivery and outcomes. We are very much customer centric. We rely on you guys, and it's what we're passionate about, is making sure that whatever investment you make, whether that investment is within Autodesk software or within our software, that you get the best and lasting benefits out of that purchase. And that's why what we specialize in. 98% excellent or good feedback from our customers on the consulting work that we do, and from the classroom training, we're delivering over 3,500 training courses every year globally. So we do spend a lot of time face to face or Zoom to Zoom with our customers. Our business is sort of split into what we call our 4 pillars. So we have 4 pillars here at Greatech. We've got the create, simulate, fabricate, and manage. So from the create point of view, this is where this is our BIM design using the Autodesk software. Obviously, we do have the mechanical side with the Inventor and the Fusion 360 side, and then the manufacturing side as well for the CAM software. And mainly today we'll be concentrating on obviously the BIM side with Revit. But what we do is for all of the Autodesk products, we have products that enhance that, particularly with the PowerPacks. And we currently have 4 PowerPacks. There's the PowerPack for Revit, which of course we're looking at today, the PowerPack for Advanced Steel, PowerPack for Inventor, and PowerPack for Vault. From a simulate point of view, we have our own simulation products, advanced design, structural analysis for both steel and concrete structures, bidirectional links back to Revit, and also to the PowerPack for Revit Concrete, which is the additional one on top of the standard PowerPack for doing your reinforcement design. Fabricate, we've got a product called Advanced Workshop. Advanced Workshop takes our BIM deliverables from the design to the fabricated product and all the way to site delivery, and allows us to manage all of that features in between. And then from a managed point of view, we have a product called OpenTree, which is our document management system, which basically has links to pretty much every other external common data environment. So obviously BIM 360, for project, SharePoint, etc. It doesn't matter which one you're using, our document management software can actually talk to that. Okay. So today what we're going to be looking at, we're going to be looking at our Work Tracker tool, okay? And so Work Tracker tool, you can see there, is on its own little ribbon on the Work panel within our PowerPack ribbon. So within the PowerPack, we've currently got 70 plus tools. We are always looking for ideas and suggestions on how we can add new tools to it. So if you do have an idea or something that you'd like to see Revit do that it doesn't currently do, or you think there's a better way for Revit to do it, drop me a line and let me know your ideas. At the end of the day, this is how we develop this package, and we develop the tools based on what our customers are asking for. So, you've got to remember that some of the tools that we have in the PowerPack will help to automate current tasks inside of Revit. So, things that Revit can currently do, but maybe could be done better. So there's a lot of productivity tools in here. But what we've also got in here as well is we've got tools in here which add functionality to Revit that it currently doesn't have, in particular here with the work tracker tool. Okay, so what is the work tracker tool? So basically, the work tracker is exactly what it sounds like. It is a way of monitoring and managing time and events and times that are spent on your projects. Now, it doesn't have to be just on a single file. Projects are made up of multiple files. It will allow us to manage time spent on either a Revit project or a project that contains multiple Revit files. Okay, and what it does is it logs time against every action that is done. So whether it's something that can be seen in the done or undo commands at the top, switching of active views, opening and saving and closing documents when you're doing the synchronization of files. So it will log all of this, but it will allocate time against it as well. And the way that it manages time is quite clever, and I will come on to how that actually works in a second as well. So what we've got is the main control panel that we open up, which basically gives us the control panel at the top and our results browser. Okay, so once we've got a project up and running, we can come in and we can start to have a look at how much time is being spent on that on your projects that are being monitored. Now, the nice thing about this interface as well, it isn't just going to give you the results of the file that you've currently got open. It will give you the results of all the files that you are currently monitoring. Okay, and this will be reading the database in the background, and I'll show you how we can configure that. Yeah, so you can see there we've got file configuration, something called global configuration, synchronization, and reports. Okay, so what we can do is under our file setup, so managing the actual projects, we can basically look at the project name of a file, the Revit file that we're doing. So here you can see there's a model called c.model5.revit. We've got the ability to set idle times in here. So what we're doing is, you've got to remember, we're monitoring active time spent on that project. Some of you that have maybe used AutoCAD in the past will remember the time command that used to be in there. And the time command was pretty bad, because that used to, all it used to do, to be fair, was it would log how long a particular DWG file had been open for. It didn't know if it was active. You could just open that file in the morning, you could close it at 5 o'clock, do nothing on it all day, and it would register 8 hours. But what we've got in here is, as well as monitoring the active time, we've got an idle time out. So what it'll do is it'll stop logging time after that project has been inactive for more than 5 minutes, and we can change that. And the nice thing about that is it means that you might be reading some documents, you might be looking at a PDF on another screen that's in relation to that project. That is still time that's basically being used on that project. So as I say, what we can then do is we can start to look at, looking at something else. We're not really idle on the project. It'll still carry on for that as well. Okay, and there's various different other options in there, as in the project that this file belongs to. As I mentioned before, it could be on. You could be on a project that could have multiple Revit models associated to that as well. And the other nice thing as well is, you'll notice that the file that I've got open there is actually being loaded up from BIM 360. The location of where these files are doesn't matter in the way that this works. Okay, there's only one consideration, and that's the location of a database, and I'll come on to how that works in a second. You'll also notice in there that we've got access to the project, so we can link it to, as I say, to the particular project that file's linked to as well. We can also look at how we store the events on the local disk. What it does is it caches the data local, but it will synchronize that data with the central database as well, so we can control how that's actually working. We look at the global configuration side of it. So this is now where we can set everything up. Here we have all the files that are being monitored by this database. Okay, so there's a couple of projects in there. If we've got this set up in a large organization, you might find that we're monitoring multiple projects. And again, this is reading the database. Okay, we can configure all of our projects. Okay, and these need to be set up first before we start using it, because of course we need to have a project to link our models to. And obviously a project can have multiple models assigned to it. When we look at reporting later on and how we can report back, you can actually report how much time has been spent on a project. Okay, so that's really useful. You know, it might have 6 models that are being worked on. We can also go down to the model level and see which models, how much time is being used in each model. So there's lots of different things that we can do there. Okay, dead easy. Click on add a project, give it a project name. The only thing that you can't have is the value cannot be empty. Okay, under the user interface, there's not an awful lot to change under there. Basically, how you want to display your time, how the unit's being displayed, etc. Okay. Now the synchronization side of it, here, this is where it gets quite useful, because this is going to tell you when it's being synchronized, but also the server type, because it uses a database to use this. Now, you've got 2 options, okay? We've got 2 options in here. We've got SQLite, which is just a file. This is built in, so you don't need any other software to run this. You can just use that. Or if you do have a SQL Server, so you've got MS SQL, Informatics, or something like that running within the organization, you can also use that as the database engine, and we can link it direct to that. The nice thing with the SQLite is it's free, it's dead easy. We just need to set it, give it a location as to where we want to create the database file. And it creates a database file with a .wtdb extension. And that can be anywhere. It has to be in a shared location for multiple users to work on. Okay. Now, interestingly, as long as that shared location is accessible by all the users on the project, it doesn't matter where the users are. So if you're working remotely, you're working from home, or you're working in an organization that's got multiple offices in different locations, as long as that file is accessible in a networked path or cloud-based path, like, you know, OneDrive, or even in a Dropbox or BIM 360, as long as everyone can access that same location, then we can store it wherever it needs to be as well. But the one aspect of this is once this is set up, when someone opens up a file that's been configured, they need to be able to see the database file and to be able to edit it. If they can't, and they can't set that up, then it's not going to work. Okay. So as I say, set up normal synchronization. We can then, as I say, link it to a SQL server if you've got access to one of them as well. Okay. When it comes to creating reports, we can actually create an Excel spreadsheet of all the reports in here, and it's very easy to do. You know, we can tell it the information that we want in there, whether it's per project, per file, per user. You can choose all of them. Click OK, it will create an Excel file for you. And the really nice way that this works is you don't actually have to have Microsoft Excel installed on the machine. It just does this in the background using the Excel API. So you don't need access to it on your machine, and then you can send that. I know most people do have Excel on the machine, but it's not a limiting factor of that. Then we come on to the visual reports that are actually inside Tracker as well, where we can start to look at projects. So you can do, this is actually over the last 30 days. You've got various different projects color coded, and we can start to see which projects people have been spending the most time on. Obviously the troughs in there are Saturdays and Sundays, and it's showing us then what's going on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday on each of them projects, and we can start to look at the total time that's actually being allocated to them. Now, interestingly enough, you'll notice on them projects, the project A, which has had a lot of time spent on it, when you start looking at the average time per day, it's 23.2 hours per day. So obviously that is a project where you've either got a very, very dedicated member of staff, or more likely you've got multiple people working on the same project. So this is brilliant. Even if you're using work sets and you've got multiple people working on the same project at the same time, this will allow us to actually to monitor that as well. As I say, we can change that out. So here it's just showing as a bar graph per project, okay, rather than for the days, which we've got on there, group by days. We can start to look, as I say, how we then set that up. So you've got different things, group by years, months, days, years. So it'll even monitor projects over multiple years. We can do it user by project as well. So then what we can see is we can start to have a look at a user, and we can start to see which projects they've been spending most of the time on. Now, it's not designed to be a big daddy looking down on you and monitoring what you're doing. It means that you can manage staff utilization better. You can start to look at, have you undersold the project? How much time is actually being spent on a project? And it just gives a really good overview of, what time is actually being spent on projects. Okay, so let's snip over to Revit. We're open somewhere down here. Here we go. And let's start having a look at Tracker. Okay, now this model in particular, this one's already been tracked. Okay, so here's our Work Tracker tool. Click on there and it will launch our Work Tracker dialog box. And as I say, this is the main interface where it tells you the particular project name that we're actually working on. So it's showing me the current project, and you can see it says track this file. We'll come on to, I'll start a project in a second to show you how we'll start from scratch. And in here we've got various different bits of information, session information, by project, per user look. So you can actually see here the times that I've actually spent on this. Various other things, so each project, each user, each file, yeah. And as you can see here, I'm currently just in this project monitoring these two projects, okay. Global configuration here at the top. Oh, we've got file configuration first. So here's the one that I was mentioning where we can set the timeout, yeah. So anything from 1 to 60 minutes. Leave that at 5. The project that this model is associated to, and what events am I storing? I'm storing all events on disk. Okay. Here's my global configuration. Okay. So under here, you can see all of the files that I've ever set up, yeah, and all the different projects. Okay. So remember that here it's showing these two projects. In here, it's showing me all the files that I'm monitoring. Yeah, so I've got two projects, one called Supermarket 2021, one called Quayside PowerPack, and then you can see then which projects I've got actually active. Yeah, this one, the reason why that one's not listed is because it can't find this one anymore. That's a legacy one, which actually is now set differently. As I say, here's the different projects. I can come in, I could add a new project. Yeah. So PowerPack demo. Okay. And we've now got another one in there. Okay. Just edit that. It is visible in UI, which is fine. What it will do is it until you update it or click apply, it doesn't update that. There's user interface. Yeah. So you'll notice in here, some of the times it says there, and this is where it could get a bit awkward. It says that I used, basically total time is 3. Now that could look like it's minutes, but that's because I've got it set days and hours. Yeah. Now, depending on the project, if I change that to hours, minutes, seconds, and click OK, you can now see 3 hours 48, 34 minutes. And what that will also do is when I start looking now at, say, 5 sessions, you can actually see that these all populated. And what some of you eagle-eyed people might have noticed before is that these were just saying 0. And the reason I'm saying 0 is because I might have only spent a few minutes, okay? But this is now logging everything that's happened in here. So that's our global, yeah? So the projects, the user interface. Here's the synchronization. So this is now just reading in a second when it switches over. So what this is doing is it's just searching for my SQL file, yeah, and reading that information. So sometimes it takes a little bit of time because as it goes through, okay. And as you can see in here, I'm using SQL, just the SQLite, which simply means that, you know, if you're using it for the first time, you create a new file, and it's as simple as that. And remember, this is the file that needs to be in a shared location. And for the sake of this project, you'll notice that mine is actually in BIM 360. Yeah, so that's one of the reasons why it took a little bit time to find it, because it was actually connecting to my BIM 360 site to actually find that file. Okay, so as I say, as long as this can be, that network's readable on other people's machines, then that's absolutely fine. That is going to work. Okay, as it is at this point, is that's actually my personal location, so will only work for me. Okay, or anyone else that's logged in as me. But yeah, it needs to be in a shared location. We also have the synchronization frequencies. Now, this works differently too. It's not the same as like synchronizing your work sets or anything like that. It's not that. This is basically going on in the background, where every 5 minutes it will then upload all of this data. As you can see, it's been doing it every 5 minutes. So at 15:09, and it'll be about to do it again very soon in the background as well. So the next time I come in here, it should have a 15:14 there as well, since we've passed that time. Okay, so I'll come back out there, and at the end here we have, so we've got a synchronize here. Now what this does is this allows us to do a manual synchronization. So where I'd got that set to 5 minutes, I could set it to manual. Just click that. That will force a manual sync. And at the end here, we've got the report, which will create us our XLS, so our Excel output. Okay. So that is the, oh, I didn't want to create a report, but never mind, I've created it. So let me just, let's just do a file, and let's open up a file which we are not tracking. So let's open up this file here. Okay, so here we have a file. It's not currently being tracked. Come into here, work tracker. Notice that this is all blank at the top. To add this now, I simply go track the file, and then I just need to go into file configuration, because the one thing that it's going to want me to do in here now is to assign the project. Okay, so here's the PowerPack demo project that I created a few moments ago. Click onto the PowerPack demo, click OK, and this is now being tracked. Okay, that information is written into this file when I hit save. So if somebody else opens it, then Work Tracker knows that that's already set up, and the information in the background is set up as well. The other thing as well is everything that's happened when you've done this, as it's set that information up within the database as well. Okay, so the nice thing about that is if this file moves to a different location, even the database would know based on the ID of the project that's hidden in the background in the metadata, it will still know that that is the same file. Okay, and if I now go to events, you'll see there's nothing in there. And the reason there's nothing in there, because of course I haven't done anything. So we could delete that. Let's delete that door. Okay, we'll pan around. It might be that I want to go to the ground floor in here and start to look. And then if we go back into Work Tracker, what we should find is that it is now started here. Yeah, and under the events, let's do a synchronize, see if I can get them to come in. Probably won't come in for another few minutes, but what it will do is it will start to link and show. Actually, it helps if I actually change the file here. Look, let's change that to Model A. There we go. Just realized my file was on the wrong one. Change my file to the correct file that I'm working in. User could be any user, but it'll show me all the users that have worked on here. And we can start to see what they've done and basically a time and date stamp as to when that was actually happened. So we can see I created the work tracker command. I've deleted a couple of selections, changed the view to a floor plan. Okay. So it's just logging that information in the background as well. And of course, it's allocating time to that as well. So, when we go to the so the per project, we can then start to say, so per file, and we could say group by days, just apply that, look. So we can start to see the days and the days that have had the most time spent on various files as well. So these lots of things. I'll go per project, we can start to see, here's all the different projects. Yeah, there's 4 events associated there. The Quayside House is 747 associated into there as well. And again, we can start to group that by day as well. And we can start to see then the difference on what's been spent. And as I hover over it, look, as soon as you hover over one of the projects, it fetches up a little legend so we can actually see what's going on which project. And then we can always just say, we can go over here and you can print out, or you can create your tracker Excel. This is a really useful tool. And as I say, one of these features that currently Revit doesn't give us. So it's a very much a tool that we were asked for so that you can start to see just how much time you are spending on certain projects. If anyone's got any questions, feel free to pop them into the question box, and I'm more than happy to help to answer them now. If you want them answered offline, feel free to drop me an email. And I'm more than happy to reply to any questions that you've got. If anyone's just typing while we're talking, do have a look out for us on social media, on Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, and of course our 2 YouTube channels, .co.uk and .com. Thank you ever so much for watching. I hope that's been useful, and I look forward to seeing you all soon on one of my next webinars. Until then, stay safe.
Greytech.